So, a data set has just emerged from the Japanese market. PC gaming has tripled since 2019 all the way through 2023. This is very interesting because it kind of is deja vu and reminds me how the PC gaming market in the West also grew from around 2016 through 2018. NPD Research gathered a data set at the time, and they actually talked about this particular growth. Now, what this probably implies is that for the most part, anybody who's doing business in gaming that's not necessarily relegated to mobile is more than likely going to be looking at the PC market as a significant, platform for it to be able to bring its titles and bring its games. Black Myth Wukong is a very recent example that showed how much the PC platform could be very important for a video game. The game did over 20 million copies by now, and majority of that was on PC. I mean, there was no Xbox version at launch, and the PlayStation side, depending on who you listen to, did not seem to have a lot in terms of sales compared to what PC had. And so pretty much PC carried that game single-handedly. Other big titles that have come out that have sold a lot as well have seen major PC numbers, but this is not to say at the end of the day that, console does not or cannot pull those numbers off. I'm just saying that, for third-party developers, they're seeing a lot of success on PC. What's also very interesting in this particular data set is that the console market had seemingly flatlined. Now, the reason I'm not really going to bother with that, data point is simply because mobile is dominant in this particular region. In fact, if you look at the chart that was put up by, Morrow here, NL3, I think that's their name, you'll see that the yellow is the PC market. In this regard, you see that the green is mobile. Look at that. That's insane. And you will realize that console is the blue side. So if you look at the transformation and the change, you'll see that mobile just continues to dominate in this particular area. There's really nothing you can do about it. I guess the culture, the society, the way technology actually is probably allows for people to be able to take their games where they want. Maybe it's just become a thing overall. And, for the most part, that's just how, a lot of gamers choose to resonate with their content in this particular region. But it's very interesting to see that PC is actually something coming into the picture. Probably already had been there, but is now starting to grow at this particular rate. If this trend continues, then, it will be interesting to see how the mobile market, resonates at the same time. But I think mobile is always so cool because more and more, a lot of these phones continue to advance and continue to get better. So I don't necessarily see mobile taking the back seat. I don't think that's a possibility, even especially in a market like this where console is not even as strong as, it's not even doing as strong as PC. I mean, already Xbox suffers in terms of low sales in Japan and even in some other Asian nations. And even overall, the consoles are not really too strong in terms of sales. If you maybe move to other regions in Asia, you realize that the PC is actually the way a lot of people prefer to go, simply because, a lot of the components that we use in our gaming PCs, they're manufactured in a lot of, different regions in Asia. And so it's easy for them to be able to get their hands on parts. It's easy to be able to get really good deals. Even from the West, people still buy from like AliExpress because the deals are just so good when you actually take into consideration what it is that you're buying or what it is that you're trying to build. Now, one really cool thing about this data set was I remember when I saw it in around 2017, 2018, this was after Spider-Man 2018 came out, I made a video where I said, I really do think that PlayStation should take its games to PC because the PC market was growing at the time. I also remember that back then I was much more open to the idea of, having staggered releases where they'd bring out their game on their console of choice and then eventually after a year or so, they can go ahead and put it on different platforms. If you watch that video, it's a very different version of me. I was much more tempered and, I was much more reasonable. However, having seen that Sony doesn't like reasonable in business, it prefers to money hack games and is trying to kill off the competition, I just feel like, right now that the market is making shifts and corrections, it's quite healthy and, I will say conducive for the gamer. Because let me tell you something, you do not want any of these companies to basically wipe out the other from a market like this. It's such an expensive market that if one person gains the upper hand over the other in many things, they're going to misbehave. PlayStation literally just flaunted a $1,000 collector's edition console in front of you in a generation where they barely have any games to offer. I mean, you're already seeing, the glimpses of misbehavior at this stage. And, you could just imagine the nightmare it'll be if, say, at some point they decided, oh man, we're going to go ahead and pretty much be the dominant console in the industry. So thankfully, Xbox is not going to easily let them just even think about that anymore. Having taken their golden goose from them, it really does help everybody. So the PC market is one that right now is super dominant. Any third-party developer that's going to be making a game, they're more than likely going to be looking at PC as their, in my opinion anyways, as the very best thing that they can actually serve. That audience really does have a lot of gamers, and so far across the board, it seems like that growth continues to move, further and further. I think what PC technology needs to now bring into perspective is normalizing a lot more in terms of portability. Because for the most part, manufacturers have used portability as some kind of a, niche aesthetic. But really, I think more and more those compatible items and portable items, and when I say compatible and portable items, I'm talking about GPU cases, GPUs themselves, need to now come into a realistic price point. Because for some strange reason, man, they want to all sell, everything that's small form factor for a little bit, because if it's mobile, it costs more. Even though it performs worse, they just want to sell that technology for a lot. But I think that technology needs to now get to the point where it's financially viable for a lot of people to be able to take that into account. And then, before you know what's going on, people are taking a computer that is smaller than a console, more powerful than the console, on trips, rather than thinking, oh, maybe I should take my console, when that particular, PC can basically do the job. I mean, right now, if you look at the handhelds like the Rogue Ally, it's basically a Windows computer that you're carrying as a gaming device. You can do your homework on it. You can do your work on it, because it's an entire computer in a sense. And so as these things continue to get cheaper and cheaper, which they already are, because used Rogue Allies on the market are basically free at this point, I think we're going to start seeing some very interesting trends in PC gaming, and perhaps these may be attractive for even those people who like mobile and the mobile nature of different devices. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.